Shabbat Shalom. When our congregation went on a trip to Israel, it was when I first came here. One of the highlights for me of our trip to Israel was going to visit the house that I grew up in the old city in Jerusalem. And by coincidence, it happened to have a sign that said, "Welcome home, Rabbi," on the door. Wasn't for me. The father of the house was in his army service and was also a rabbi. So we knocked on the door, and the Balat Habayit, the owner of the house, came down. She was an American from Los Angeles. And when she heard that I grew up there, she said, "Sure, please come in." So we came in, and she took us all the way to the rooftop. I couldn't remember it. I was 6 years old when I left. But there we were on the rooftop in Jerusalem, overlooking all the other roofs and domes, and behind all of it, the old city, that square mile that people call the Holy Basin, the fertile ground where monotheism and our three great Abrahamic faiths were birthed. And I'd never been back in all those years. And I remember looking out there, made me think of all the other times that I'd been in the holy city and lived there or visited there and seen its mysteries. Because I did go back before, in my early 20s as a journalist. I was living on the northern side, just by the desert. And I remember then also being taken to different views in the old city and seeing secret views, places nobody else knew about, from different buildings and institutions, different angles of that holy area. I remember once doing a report about one of the oldest churches there, the Holy Sepulchre, and someone took me up to the roof. When you go up to the roof of the Holy Sepulchre, in the middle of the old city, if you go down a whole flight of stairs, there's an underground lake just in the middle there with a boat on the lake, dating back from Crusader times. I remember once walking up on the other side, the Mount of Olives in East Jerusalem, and walking by so many Eastern Orthodox churches and mosques and Sufi centers, and then catching the sunset from that oldest Jewish cemetery in the whole world, considered to be the place where Mashiach will rise to bring the world to peace. And we still take earth of that mountain to every single, even here in Chicago, every single burial, so that our beloved departed ones can connect to the limitless possibilities of those ancient hills. And if you look from there, you have a different view than we usually get as tourists when we go. We don't so often take tourists anymore from that lens. But there's more domes and the minarets of the mosques, not as many Jerusalem apartments. And if we can shift our spirit a little bit, there's such a beauty there too, looking out over the old city, hearing even the sound of the Muslim call to prayer echo through the valleys. As the poet Yehuda Amichai says, a port city on the shore of eternity. Port city on the shore of eternity. So our previous director of our religious school here, Marshall Kupchin, he has a recurring post on social media where he talks about the doorways of Jerusalem. And he posts every few weeks a different doorway, but you can't see what's on the other side. And I remember once visiting my barber from when I was a teenager, also living there, a same barber from New Zealand. Not religious, but we always shared a lot. And he said to me, you know, in Jerusalem, everything is hidden. In Tel Aviv, everything is exposed. It's complete opposite. But in Jerusalem, everything is hidden behind courtyards and doors. Everything is hard to see. Unlimited mysteries. Every corner has its own life, its own ancient history. And yet we all bring our own song to it. I remember once visiting the Western Wall with my daughter Shalva when she was very young, a toddler, and we went into the underground part of the Kotel on the men's side, which is my favorite part. One can almost feel the power of the ancient stone of the Temple of Jerusalem coming through the rocks there. And all over there were the sounds of men chanting and praying and davening and yelling and responding and minions. And suddenly Shava started to sing, Ba Ba Black Sheep. Because I think she understood what this place was about. And so the Midrash says Yerushalayim has, the name itself, Yerushalayim, has two parts to it. One is Yira, awe, because it provokes us to be in awe when you're struck by the spiritual gravity of that city, its mysteries, its endless layers. It demands respects, and it puts us in our place when we're faced with the magnificence of those spiritual glories and of those currents to eternity. And the other aspect is Shalayim, coming from Shalom, the city of peace, a city that is grounded in peace, a deep peace, even despite all those war-torn millennia, a peace that is fed and that feeds all those thousands of pilgrims who pray there and live lives of introspection and contemplation. And so we've always taught there's a higher Jerusalem where all these mysteries originate and live, and that transcends even the physical place and the time, the lower Jerusalem. Unfortunately, I feel we've moved away from the inner, higher aspects of our beautiful capital to endless political maneuverings and conflicts on whose city it is and which part of which city belongs to who and who controls it. We've forgotten Hashem ha'aretz u'mlo'ah, that to God is the city, is the land and all it contains. And if there's any place that belongs to God and not to human beings, it is Jerusalem, and we are only custodians. And so as we marked Yom Yerushalayim, Jerusalem Day this week, celebrating that we've been given by miraculous events to be custodians once again of the holy city, we should also not forget to whom it belongs and what our role is, and that is a city of awe, and it's a city of peace. The same awe that led even the secular paratroopers in '67 to take off their hats and gaze up in wonder as the heavens opened up. The same awe that many Jews from all walks of life still feel going to the Kotel, to the Western Wall. The same awe that pilgrims of all faiths of the world's three great religions feel in Jerusalem's long Kotels. And it is there to bring that awe and peace to all those who go there as they've done for millennia. And this is really what we should celebrate on Jerusalem Day, Yom Yerushalayim, last Sunday. That as Jews, after 2 millennia, we are back in Jerusalem. And that gives us this feeling of rightness and the feeling of it being back at the center of our beings. And it also conveys in us the responsibility to safeguard its treasures and maintain with gratitude its eternal embrace to all who seek its shores. Shabbat Shalom.